Despite being the strongest white mage, the man was kicked out of the hero's party as a weakling, leading the protagonist to believe he was truly powerless. So when invited to join an S-rank adventurer's party, he still felt somewhat lacking in confidence. To gauge the protagonist's abilities, the group took him to the outskirts for an on-site assessment. They asked him to cast an enhancement spell on the entire team. To their surprise, he merely clenched his hand in the air, and a wand materialized out of thin air. Before anyone could react or even catch a glimpse of him chanting, he announced the spell was complete. The others were left utterly bewildered. At that moment, the pink-haired lowly had a hunch, so she drew her sword to test it out. To everyone's surprise, a simple draw of the blade effortlessly severed a tree so thick it took several people to embrace it. Stunned, everyone froze in place. Only then did the male protagonist step in to explain. When he'd enhanced his physique, he'd simultaneously boosted 5 attributes: defense, magic, reduced mana cost, and endurance. Upon hearing this, the 4 stared at the protagonist as if he were some kind of freak. They had never even heard of anyone capable of casting 5 support spells in a single breath. Seeing the silence, the protagonist assumed his abilities were too weak to impress them and immediately prepared to take his leave. Only then did the others finally snap out of it, showering him with compliments until they managed to persuade him to stay. Upon learning the details, the group discovered that the male lead had actually been part of the hero squad before, only to be kicked out later due to his lackluster abilities. Hearing this, they couldn't help but inwardly gasp in astonishment. They never imagined that even someone as powerful as the male lead could be deemed too weak by the hero squad. It seemed they still had a long way to go. However, the male lead was also puzzled. As top-tier S-rank adventurers, how could their team not have a white mage? The pink-haired lowly explained that they originally did have one, but she had to return to care for her sister, who was unwell. Especially recently, her sister's body had begun showing signs of petrification. Upon hearing this, the protagonist recalled having seen such a description in his master's teachings. Since he happened to possess a method to counteract it, he asked Pinky to take him to the girl's home for a visit. By this time, the girl's limbs had already begun to undergo demonic petrification. Though her sister had consulted renowned physicians far and wide, none could cure her. She simply couldn't believe that an ordinary white mage like the protagonist could offer a solution, but at this point, she had no choice but to grasp at straws.